Often when you hear about or read about someone who had a particularly intense experience on psychedelics, common rhetoric for you to come across is something akin to, they met or they experienced God during that trip. I want to make it very clear today that the God which they're describing is probably not this fucking guy, because more often than not, it's not even a god that has some sort of form or humanoid figure. It's more so an experience or a vision that the person who is tripping had, and the only adequate language to describe that experience is to say that they met or they spoke with or they encountered God on the trip. And I want to break this down with an example. So on my very first experience with mushrooms, what I saw and what I interacted with can only be described as an all-encompassing love surrounding me. It was pouring out of the walls of my apartment, and I'd walk outside and it's pouring from the trees and the grasses and the animals that were around, and as few people as there were around, it was pouring out of them as well and into me. And then from me, this same all-encompassing love was pouring back out and into everything around me. And I could see this with my own vision. I could see it fucking leaving me and going over there and then coming back into me. And the conclusion that I was brought to at the end of this experience was that God is not this all-knowing, all-seeing entity that commands us and gives us rules to live by and requires this praise and whatnot, or whatever you might understand God to be using the modern religious context of God. But it's much, much simpler than that. God is simply experience, and that's it. If you are having an experience of something, of anything, then you are experiencing God. And the mere fact that you can experience anything is God, and that's quite simply it. Now, of course, I'm speaking from my own experience with psychedelics here, and someone else who has had a particularly profound or intense experience on psychedelics may not describe to you the same God that I am describing to you, but I can almost guarantee that what they did not experience was fucking this dude. And even if the God that they did experience had some form of humanoid figure or form to it, it was more likely than not a lot more similar to this than it was to the previous images that I've shown that depict God in some way. And that's because this idea of God is a very human construct, as a way for us to kind of break down and categorize our experience of this impossibly complex, unique, and wonderful natural world that we are just fucking dropped into. And the only words that we can use to describe this experience that we are having is to use these ideas of deities and things that are commanding this natural world, when in fact we are merely just experiencers for something that's already going on and would be going on with or without us. And I know that this video is a bit shorter than the stuff that I usually put out, but in case you couldn't tell, I'm still dealing with a bit of a head cold, and I just really wanted to get something out for you guys. So if you enjoyed this and you want to see more about it, you know what to do. And if you want me to explain anything further, that's what the comment section is for. I will see you in the next one. Peace.